I was fired from my company for a crime I didn't commit. With no motivation left, I was withering away in my one-room apartment when suddenly, a beautiful former boss, Sarah, showed up at my door. My confusion, she announced, "I quit the company too." A wave of uncertainty washed over me. Wait, did she follow me here? Could it be that she... My mind raced with possibilities. As I nursed these faint hopes, Sarah leaned in close to my ear and said, "Moving in starting today." I, Tyler Grant, am completely unremarkable in every way. At least, that's what I always believed. The only thing that ever gave me any confidence was my art. "Tyler, your artwork is amazing. You've got real talent." Those words spoken on a warm summer day in 7th grade changed everything for me. What started as torture, having to draw portraits of our partners in art class, turned into one of my most treasured memories. Oh, so I'm actually good at something. The realization hit me like a bolt of lightning, illuminating a path I never knew existed. After that day, I spent countless nights hunched over my desk, sketching until my fingers cramped and my eyes burned. Sometimes I'd wake up with my face pressed against the paper, pencil still clutched in my hand. Art became my refuge, my only means of self-expression as someone who was painfully shy and struggled to find the right words. In my small world, it was the one thing that made me feel proud. With what felt like divine intervention, I managed to land a job at Pierce Design, a prestigious firm known for their innovative work. Walking through those gleaming glass doors on my first day, portfolio clutched to my chest, I felt like I won the lottery. Working as a professional artist brought new challenges every day, each one more exciting than the last. The creative energy in the office was infectious. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. However, I quickly learned that having a dream job wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. "Hey, Tyler?" A familiar voice would call out almost daily. "Could you copy these documents? Oh, and I need these rough sketches revised, plus data entry for these files." I'm still working on this coloring," I tried to protest weakly. "You'll do it for me, won't you?" The voice would respond, accompanied by a dazzling smile that made resistance futile. That voice belonged to my direct supervisor, Sarah Norton, exactly the type of person who sent my anxiety through the roof. She was stunning, with long dark hair that seemed to float as she walked, creating an almost ethereal effect on the office lights. Her work was always efficient and precise, like a well-oiled machine. Unlike most of our introverted colleagues who prefer to communicate through email, she had exceptional people skills. She could charm clients with a single conversation, and always seemed to know exactly what to say in any situation. It was no surprise when she quickly rose through the ranks after joining, becoming the youngest team leader in company history. She was everyone's ideal, a true elite professional who seemed to excel at everything she touched. Well, almost everything. Her only flaw? She had a habit of overworking her subordinates, particularly me. "Come on, Tyler," she'd say, perching on the edge of my desk. "Nothing gets done if you keep stopping." "This amount of work, I don't think it's possible to finish even if I keep going," I'd mumble, staring at the mountain of task before me. "Really? But I know you can handle it, right?" She'd flash that $1,000,000 smile, and I'd feel my resolve crumbling like a sandcastle in the tide. I challenge anyone to try saying no to a beautiful woman smiling directly at you while patting your shoulder. Besides, when she fixes you with those sharp eyes, there's this overwhelming pressure that makes your heart race and your palms sweat. Like being caught in a spotlight you never asked for. I ended up hating myself for always giving in and accepting more overtime. Each time I promised myself I'd stand firm next time, but that next time never came. "Yo, Tyler, why the long face?" Just as I was wallowing in despair at my desk one afternoon, another troublesome person appeared. Adam Pierce, one of the few people who started the same year as me, was also someone I struggled to deal with. He was the only son of Pierce Sr., the company's CEO, and while he got in through obvious nepotism, he was actually quite skilled in sales. The problem wasn't his abilities, it was his attitude. He'd regularly slack off, take random breaks, and leave early. Yet somehow got away with behavior that would get anyone else fired instantly. The perks of being the future CEO, I supposed. I wrinkled my nose as he leaned against my desk. "Are you wearing perfume?" "Hell yeah!" He laughed, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. "Must have rubbed off from that girl earlier." On top of everything else, he was quite the player, constantly bragging about his latest conquest. He was exactly the type of person I'd normally avoid at all costs, but for some reason, he always insisted on hanging around me, which was exhausting. "Adam!" Sarah's sharp voice cut through our conversation. I just gave Tyler some work to do, so stop distracting him.
If it isn't Mrs. Norton.
Adam's face lit up with exaggerated enthusiasm.
Man, Tyler, I'm so jealous. Getting to work with such a beauty every day must be amazing.
Yes, you're a smooth talker as ever. Sarah's tone was cool and professional.
I'm being sincere.
Adam protested, placing a hand over his heart.
Come on, let me take you out sometime. I know this great place. Private chef, amazing wine list.
Maybe try that line after you get rid of that woman's perfume smell. Sarah's deadpan response made me hide a smile behind my hand. While Sarah casually deflected Adam's aggressive flirting, he suddenly turned his attention to me, who was still sighing over my mounting workload.
Playing hard to get, huh?
Adam smirked.
Could it be that you have a boyfriend? Maybe this guy?
I choked on my cough at Adam's outrageous suggestion as he pointed his thumb at me. Several drops splattered onto my carefully organized sketches, making me groan internally. Sarah's expression didn't change at all as she brushed off his comment. Tyler? No way. He reminds me of Buddy.
Buddy?
Adam raised an eyebrow. My childhood dog. He was a golden retriever. You kind of remind me of him. She said it so matter-of-factly that it stung even more. So, I'm being compared to a dog? Adam burst out laughing, slapping his knee with genuine amusement. I pursed my lips, trying to maintain my composure. Laugh all you want. I'm just a dog to her anyway. Someone like me, who can't even speak up for himself, I can never hope to reach her level. She's way out of my league. Despite moments like these, my days were busy but enjoyable, albeit sometimes tiring. It wasn't a bad life at all. I had a steady job doing what I loved, even if it came with some complications. I was slowly building a portfolio I could be proud of, and occasionally, I catch Sarah looking at my work with genuine appreciation. Then everything fell apart completely out of nowhere. That day, I got to meet with a client, which was rare for me. Usually, Sarah or Adam handled client meetings, but this was different. This was my first solo project since joining the company, a logo design I'd poured my heart and soul into. The meeting was with a major advertising agency, and I spent weeks perfecting every detail of the design. As I stood in their sleek conference room, hands trembling slightly as I presented my work, I saw their faces light up with approval. This is excellent work, the representative beamed, examining the designs from various angles. We definitely made the right choice going with your company. I'm glad it met your expectations. I managed to stammer out, my chest swelling with pride. It exceeded them. We're especially grateful to have you as our contact, Mr. Grant. Huh? I blinked in surprise. You're an excellent listener. You patiently took in all our detailed requests and transformed them exactly to what we're looking for. We're truly fortunate to work with you. If there's another opportunity, we'd love to request you specifically. It was the highest praise I'd ever received in my professional life. My eyes burned with unshed tears as I barely managed to stammer out my thanks. They hadn't just praised my art. They'd praised me as a person. Something that happened so rarely it felt like a dream. I felt my passion ignite anew, eager to pour this joy into my next project. This spring my step lasted all the way back to the office. It should have been the best day of my career, but everything came crashing down in an instant. I'm back. Huh? When I returned to the office feeling triumphant, I was met with an ice-cold atmosphere I'd never experienced before. Colleagues who usually returned my greetings were dead silent, only turning accusatory glares in my direction. Their white-hot stares were unmistakably filled with condemnation, all directed at me. What's... I tried to ask what was happening, but my voice died in my throat. Tyler, drop off your things and come to the conference room. The department's head's stern voice gave me instructions, his tone leaving no room for questions. The path to my desk and even the moment I set down my bag felt like walking on needles under those piercing stares. My hands trembled as I tried to organize my thoughts. What could have happened in the few hours I was gone? Excuse me. I knocked tentatively on the conference room door. Inside, 2 people were already waiting. The department head, looking even more severe than usual, and Sarah, whose typically cool expression was tense. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Well, what's going on? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I'll get straight to the point. The department's head voice was cold. Is it true you've been stalking Sarah? What? The unexpected accusation made me shout in shock. Me? A stalker? Why?
While you were out, we received an anonymous internal tip.
The department head's voice dripped with disgust as he handed me several documents.
Take a look at these.
The documents were printouts of several photographs. They showed different locations, from the office break room to unknown alleyways and apartment entrances. But they all had one thing in common. Sarah was in every shot. Some were clearly taken without her knowledge, showing her going about her daily routine.
Do you recognize these photos?
The department's head's eyes bored into me. No, not at all. I shook my head vigorously.
These images were found on your computer.
What? My blood ran cold. This couldn't be happening. Nothing the department head said made any sense. I had absolutely no recollection of these photos. Of course not. I'd never taken them, let alone saved them. This was a complete setup. Wait, please, I pleaded, my voice shaking. I don't know anything about these.
Save your excuses. Besides these, we found dozens more photos of Sarah saved on your computer. Some even show her in her casual clothes. Clear evidence of stalking.
No, really, I don't know anything about this. Even at such a crucial moment, I couldn't express myself well, only managing weak denials. No wonder Sarah wouldn't even look at me, keeping her gaze fixed on the floor. The sight of her obvious discomfort made my stomach churn.
I've already reported this to the CEO, Pierce. He'll be launching an internal investigation, so you're suspended until further notice. Think hard about what you've done.
The harsh punishment left my mind blank. I don't remember how I got back to my desk. I just mechanically packed my things and left the eerily quiet office, feeling dozens of judgmental eyes following my every move. When I reached the lobby on unsteady legs, a rough hand grabbed my shoulder. Adam stood there, his face twisted with disgust. Behind him stood Sarah, still avoiding eye contact.
Man, Tyler, I really misjudged you.
Adam's voice dripped with contempt.
I thought you were just quiet, but decent. But to pull something like this, I never thought you'd be such a creep who can't tell right from wrong.
No, I didn't. My protest sounded weak even to my own ears.
Instead of making excuses, shouldn't you be apologizing to Miss Norton? Here!
Adam shoved me, making me fall to my knees at Sarah's feet. Above me, I heard her sharp intake of breath. Sarah, this really isn't what... I tried to stand and face her, desperate to explain. No, don't look at me, just stop! She backed away with more fear in her eyes than I'd ever seen, her voice trembling with emotion. After that, I spent a month rotting away in my one-room apartment. There had been no word from the company since then. I suspected they'd soon suggest I submit a voluntary resignation. I noticed the floor was covered in garbage but couldn't muster the energy to clean it up. Empty cup noodle containers and coffee cans littered every surface. The blinds stayed drawn, keeping the room in perpetual twilight. Don't look at me, just stop! Sarah's final words kept echoing in my head, haunting my dreams and waking hours alike. The fear in her eyes, the way she recoiled from me, played on repeat in my mind like a broken record. That's when it happened. Just as her voice was tormenting me again in my mind, the real Sarah appeared on my door. At first, I thought I was hallucinating. Lack of sleep and proper nutrition playing tricks on my mind. Let me ask one more time. I rubbed my eyes, certain she'll disappear. Like I said, I'm moving in starting today. Got it? She stood there in my doorway, as real as ever, hands on her hips. Are you in your right mind? How rude! I'm perfectly sane and sober. Her forceful response to my second confirmation didn't compute in my sleep-deprived brain. Moving in? Who? Sarah? Why? This is my apartment, right? I pinched my cheek. Ouch. Yes, good morning. This is reality in your apartment where I'm actually visiting, where I'll be living from now on, okay? He spoke slowly, as if explaining something to a child. Sarah was really standing in front of me. When I finally grasped the situation, something still felt very wrong. Why would she visit me, someone suspected of stalking her? Let me explain things in order. She stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. I quit that company. What? Why? Because Adam Pierce was the real stalker. Huh? What? Her casual revelation was another shock to my system. Adam? That Adam? The same one who condemned me so harshly that day? Seeing the disbelief on my face, Sarah sighed and lowered her eyebrows, speaking in a softer tone. I feel bad speaking ill of your former colleague, but since he framed you, I don't think he deserves any sympathy. That's not what To be honest, I never believed you were the culprit from the start. I began picking up trash from my floor as she spoke. You're not capable of something that devious, right? Sarah, I've worked with you for years, and I only keep reliable people close to me. Her words, as she sat down on my newly cleared floor, made my eyes go wide. Whatever her assessment of me, our trust hadn't been broken. She had believed in me. Then why didn't you say anything back then? I couldn't keep the hint of accusation from my voice. I'm sorry, but at that point, I had no proof either way, and you barely defended yourself. Even if I said, I don't think it's him, they would have just assumed I was covering for a teammate, and that would have been the end of it. What about that last time you seemed so scared? Oh, did that look convincing? Then my acting isn't so bad after all. She winked at me. You know what they say, to deceive your enemies, you must first deceive your allies. Her playful response deflated my tension. To be honest, I couldn't say all my resentment had completely vanished, but seeing her bright smile again, the one that suited her best, made me think maybe it wasn't so bad after all. Back to the story. In the end, I found the exact same files on Adam's computers when I was investigated. They were dated the day before the accusation. So then, without a doubt, Adam was the real culprit. I reported to the department head right away. But, guess what? That CEO tried to cover it up for his son. Sarah bit her lip, her eyes burning with anger. I'd never seen her this passionate about anything before. Can you believe he had the nerve to look me in the eye and say, boys will be boys? I was so furious. I wrote my resignation right there and threw it in his face. Wait, so you really quit? You bet I did, with every intention. I don't care how big the company is. I'm done with that toxic workplace. She slammed her hand on the table, making me jump. That's why I want to get back at them. Okay. So, I'm thinking of starting my own company. Your own company? What do you think? Do I seem cut out for running a business? I considered her question seriously. Yeah, I think so. Your people skills, work efficiency, creative direction, I think all of that would be really valuable. After my stumbling response, which she didn't mock at all, Sarah stood up with a determined, right then. Then it's decided. I'll be the CEO, and you'll be the vice president. Me? I stared at her, wondering if I heard her correctly. Who else could support me better? Her matter-of-fact statement made me stare at her in disbelief. She just said I'd be vice president? While I'm flattered by the evaluation, that's not the issue here. I'm technically still employed. Oh, don't worry about that. You'll be getting an official termination notice from the CEO soon. The good news is that it'll be listed as a company decision, so you'll get severance pay. Seriously? I don't even get a choice? At this point, all I could manage was a dry laugh. I want my hard-worked years and that hellish month back. Before anger could well up, I just felt drained. Sarah gently placed her hand on my slumped shoulders. This is our chance for a major comeback from rock bottom. Let's work together and show that awful company what we can do. I couldn't look away from her determined gaze. Even now, her confident smile and upturned lips left me defenseless. Okay, I understand. Great! Now this place is going to be our office starting today. Make sure you clear some space for me to sleep. Hold on. Why are you actually moving in? We're both unemployed now, right? We need to save money whenever we can. Besides, this place is a mess. Before I could stop her, Sarah efficiently started cleaning my apartment. Apparently, her moving in was also non-negotiable. Does she not understand the concept of propriety? And so we launched our new design company. To be honest, it was a rush start with no real prospects, but Sarah's charisma and experience gradually helped us take shape. While we didn't land any major clients like at our previous job, we approached local businesses one by one and built a reputation as a friendly, community-focused studio. Several years after starting the business, once we found our footing, our living arrangement had lost its awkwardness, becoming a natural part of daily life. That's when things changed for us. Tyler! Oh, welcome back. Why are you in such a hurry? We got that contract, the one we were aiming for. My hands stopped preparing dinner as Sarah slammed the documents on the table with those words. It was a proposal from a company far more prestigious than any we'd worked with before. But that wasn't all. Checking the list of companies competing for this contract, I saw our old company name among the competitors. We finally made it this far. We absolutely won't lose. There was a fierce fire burning in Sarah's eyes as she made her declaration. Despite feeling intimidated by her intensity, I found myself gripping the frying pan handle tighter. We haven't forgotten what you did to us, Pierce. From that day on, we threw ourselves into preparing for the presentation. Sarah's dedication was especially intense. She was already prone to overworking, but now she stayed up late into the night working on documents, often falling asleep right there in the living room. Even tonight, the night before the presentation, she was still glued to her computer, barely touching her dinner. Sarah, you really should rest. I'm fine. I can't lose. Not to them. Her appearance, frantically running her hands through her hair as she worked, had lost all its usual polish. I hesitated, watching her almost manic state. The old me would have been too timid to intervene in someone else's business. But with Sarah, after all this time together, she was different. Sarah! What? Look, just go to bed. I'm pulling another all-nighter. Sarah! My unexpectedly loud voice made her fingers freeze over the keyboard. This was the first time I'd ever raised my voice to her in all our years together. Usually, I just went along with whatever she said. I might be pathetic, but just this once, just to stop Sarah from destroying herself, I wanted to be a bit more like a proper man. I understand how you feel. I want to win too, but we need to take care of ourselves to do that, don't we? Oh. I've been watching you work so hard all this time. That effort is definitely showing up in our results, and our clients can see it too. I'm absolutely certain of that. So please, rest tonight. We're going to win this. I know it. God, my knees are shaking just standing here. Tyler, thank you. Yes. I'm sorry for worrying you. I'm sorry. I'm so glad I chose you. Yes. I couldn't look at her face, but her usually composed voice trembled slightly. Instead of mocking my inability to respond smoothly, she repeated her thanks and apologies several times before finally standing up, looking somewhat refreshed. Let's do our best tomorrow. After it's over, there's a lot I want to talk about. Things you want to talk about? Yes, there's quite a bit. But first, let's get through tomorrow. Okay. The phrase, things to talk about, made my heart skip a beat. My feelings were half expectation, half fear. I found myself nervously fidgeting with my bangs. Oh, great. How am I supposed to sleep now after acting all confident? Whether she noticed my internal struggle or not, she just gave me a gentle smile. The next morning, finally, presentation day. As we approached the venue, both trying to control our tense expressions, we saw a familiar face.
Well, long time no see, you two.
A tall man in a sleek suit approached us with a casual stride. That face, that demeanor. I can never forget Adam Pierce. The moment I recognized him, I felt heat rising in my head and almost raised my voice. Pierce, you...
Hey now, you're not planning to cause a scene before the big presentation, are you?
Adam's carefree attitude made me swallow my words. I felt Sarah's palm gently cover my clenched fist. My, got some nerve showing your face here, Mr. Stalker.
Huh? What are you talking about? You shouldn't throw around false accusations. The stalker was Tyler here, remember?
Right, that's what your version of events said. Good thing Daddy was there to protect you, huh, rich boy? Sarah's derisive snort made Adam's smug expression twitch.
Besides, why are you in with this creep? Doesn't it gross you out?
Who I associate with is none of your business. I don't work for your company anymore. After all, right, Tyler? The moment Sarah deliberately used my first name, Adam's anger exploded. He stormed over and grabbed my arm so hard it made a crackling sound.
Why do you keep getting in my way, Grant? I went through all that trouble to get rid of you, and then she goes and quits right after. Don't tell me you two are actually together.
No, we're not. But you really did set me up then.
Yeah, I did. Those kinds of photos are easy to get when you hire a private investigator. Child's play.
Adam's sneering face made my blood boil, but I held myself back. Instead, Sarah spoke up, her eyes narrowed more sharply than mine. You could have put that effort into actual work. What a waste.
Harsh words, but I care more about getting a beauty like you than work. I'm the type who gets what he wants no matter what.
Well, that's too bad, because even if Tyler wasn't in the picture, I would never go for someone like you. Ever. Our firm declaration made Adam's face turn red. Then he let out a breath and forced another smug expression.
Whatever. I've given up on you anyways. Besides, I found so much more interesting dirt.
With a malicious grin, he lowered his voice so only we could hear and whispered,
Norton Workshop.
In that instant, Sarah's expression froze. Her slightly parted lips trembled as she glared at Adam.
You were an only child, weren't you?
Where did you...
Private investigators are really useful, you know. They dig up all sorts of unexpected info. Just a shame about your dad. My father told me all about it. Said it was pathetic, really pitiful.
Pierce! Ignoring Sarah's anguished cry, Adam stepped back from mocking.
Whoa, scary. Well, do your best today, even though we're going to win anyway.
Watching his retreating back as he waved dismissively made my irritation surge. But more importantly, I needed to check on Sarah, who seemed very disturbed. Sarah, about what he just said. No, let's focus on the presentation for now. I promise I'll tell you everything later. After letting out a long breath, Sarah straightened her back and returned to her usual expression. Though I still felt uneasy, she answered me with a smile. It's okay. I believe in myself, and all the time we work together. Don't you? Yes. If there's anyone who wouldn't be moved by her confident smile right now, I'd like to meet them. That's how beautiful and radiant she was. The meeting room quickly filled in for the presentations, and the client's representative entered to announce the results. Oh! I couldn't help but let out a small sound when I recognized him. It was definitely the same representative from my last delivery at my previous job. I hadn't expected him to have changed companies, and I blinked several times in surprise.
Now, I'll announce the results.
The representative formally proceeded with the announcement, and finally revealed the selected company. It was... us! Yes! Yes! Tyler! Oh! I jumped up shouting with joy, drawing everyone's attention. My lack of professional composure was embarrassingly obvious. The representative's eyes widened when he saw me. Then he nodded firmly.
Ah, Mr. Grant. I thought it was you.
You remembered me?
Of course! Ah, excuse me. This is rather personal. I had the pleasure of working with him at another company. The design we've chosen today also shows his exceptional ability to understand and exceed our requirements. I can absolutely vouch for his quality.
Just like that day. No, even more than that day. His warm words brought tears to my eyes. Having someone value my work this much, it really validated all my efforts. I'm so glad for you, Tyler. Sarah's eyes were slightly wet, sparkling in the fluorescent light. And suddenly, I had so many feelings I wanted to convey to her. I'd have to tell her properly later. No, I must tell her. After arranging to handle the contract details another day, we left the venue. On our way out, an angry Adam blocked our path.
What the hell was that? What strings did you pull?
Weren't you listening at all, Adam Pierce? Besides the presentation being a complete victory, this was all thanks to Tyler's reputation.
That's bull. There's no way this awkward loser could get that kind of recognition. Wait, don't tell me you offered some special services. Guess you're just like any other woman after all.
Adam's voice echoed through the hallway as he threw out basic accusations and insults. After hearing them out, Sarah smiled brightly. Got it. Thanks for that.
Huh?
Tyler, how did it go? Yep, sent it. The audio came through clearly too. My smartphone screen showed a social media post form, with notifications rapidly piling up on the just completed post. As Adam peered at it in confusion, his face turned pale as he realized what was happening.
Wait, you didn't...
CEO's son from major design firm caught on video verbally attacking former employees. Shocking footage. Pretty clear and concise, right? I guess it doesn't matter since you shouted your full name in the video anyway.
No, wait! Delete it!
That's probably impossible now. It's spread too far. The notification sounds wouldn't stop, and Anna's panic increased proportionally. His expression of absolute despair made me finally feel like our revenge was complete. That face still makes me laugh even days later. Finally some closure. Later at a bar, celebrating our victory, Sarah laughed heartily while downing her cocktail. The day after the presentation, our video had caused quite a stir in online news. Former colleagues and employees who saw my post started coming forward with their own stories about the Pierce family's abuse of power. The scandal went viral and showed no signs of dying down, causing the company's stock to plummet. They'll probably go bankrupt at this rate.
Serves them right. Or rather, Karma's a witch.
After that declaration, Sarah slowly began telling me about her past. She had grown up in a single-parent household with her father, running a small design workshop. They lived modestly but happily, maintaining their small business till everything changed just before her high school graduation. A design firm they had been working with suddenly terminated their contract. Her father repeatedly went to the company seeking an explanation, but they dismissed him without even giving a reason. Having lost their main client, the workshop went bankrupt. The shock sent her father to bed, and he never recovered. Left completely alone, Sarah heard something unbelievable at her father's funeral. She happened to overhear CEO Pierce talking to an employee outside the funeral home, where he'd shown up unexpectedly.
Well, that's one less waste of resources to deal with. Really, we cut ties because we didn't want to waste time on small operations. But that stubborn old man just wouldn't take the hint.
From that day on, revenge against Pierce became her reason for living. She worked her way through college, studying desperately while saving money from her first job, all to infiltrate that company. Even getting into that company was all about bringing down the Pierces. I was willing to do anything. So, I even approached you because you were that idiot's classmate. I see. You can despise me if you want. Whatever the outcome, I used you. I dragged an innocent person who just loved art into this mess and forced you to help. I'm truly sorry. Sarah's voice trembled like mine used to as she hung her head, still holding her empty glass. I slowly reached out towards her small, hunched shoulders, and, after much hesitation, my fingertips lightly touched her arm. I don't think I was used. If you were just using me, you could have abandoned me when the company cut me loose. You could have handled the startup and everything else on your own, Sarah. When she slowly raised her eyes, my first priority was to hand her a paper napkin. I think you actually felt guilty about me the whole time. That's why you involved me when I lost my job. Why you gave me work.
That's just rationalizing after the fact.
Well, let's rationalize. At least for me, it saved me. You saved me. Saved my tiny world. I took a deep breath. Sarah, I want to keep walking this path with you. Would you consider dating me, with marriage in mind? Her eyes went wide, then crumbled with emotion. Several months later, our former company, caught in the fallout from Adam's verbal abuse video going viral, saw their stock price crash. For a design firm, image is everything. Major clients pulled out, and they went bankrupt recently. The CEO and Adam are now drowning in debt, reportedly working day labor jobs. Meanwhile, Sarah and I started walking together as both romantic partners and business partners. The company we started has grown into about 30 employees. Okay, it's enough for work today. Sarah, you should head home. Aw, I just want to finish entering this data. It's not urgent, is it? You're not in a condition to push yourself too hard right now. You're right, I guess I have no choice. As she spoke, Sarah gently rubbed her growing belly. I can't wait to meet them, right, Tyler? Her upturned smile is still as radiant and as beautiful as ever today.